and welcome to another edition of the Railway Monthly. Hey, do you know what? This month I'm not in trouble, haven't done anything silly, and I've got no gripes, so all that remains for me to say really is what we've got for you in this month's edition. We visit the stunning Llangollen Railway, which claims it's the most scenic in the country. I think some other railways might have a few things to say about that, but it is certainly a very beautiful line. John Collins gets to grips with levers and bells as he learns to become a signalman on the Old Down Miniature Railway. We see the naming of a new locomotive on the South Downs Light Railway. We've got an absolutely gorgeous garden railway in G1 scale. And Jennifer Johnston, do you really care what Jennifer Johnston's doing, just as long as she's in the programme? I thought so. You are going to love the piece that we've got for you this month as she drives the B12 on the North Norfolk Railway. Funny, isn't it? We British love our miniature railways. And if there's a garden centre, well, you're almost guaranteed one. And the South Downs Light Railway is based in a garden centre near Pulborough in Sussex. And they've just got themselves a brand new locomotive.
First of all, can I say thank you all very, very much for coming to our gala here. We've got a gala for 4 days, as you know. But this is a very special one. It'll never happen again. For the first time, we now have our own club loco. Which Claire Barrett from Salvage Squad is to name for us.
Hello! Well, I must say I'm very, very jealous. A chap earlier on said, where would you like me to put the loco? And I said, in the back of my car, because it's certainly a beautiful thing. So I will happily unveil the name plaque and then unhappily spill a bit of champagne, but not too much on the paintwork. It's looking stunning.
Pulborough, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go, in the best tradition. I can't spill too much on the paintwork. It was such a shame.
What a waste.
Claire, it's really nice to see you here, and it's rather nice to know that you're the real thing, aren't you?
Oh yes, turned up with my steel toe cap boots on this morning. So yeah, no, ready to go.
For those that don't know, you have you appear in a programme called Salvage Squad, but your background really is engineering, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I started off over at Brighton on beam engines, firing Lancashire boilers, so it's a bit bigger than these. But I just turn my hand to anything really.
And what about this little loco that you named today?
It's fantastic. I mean, I know I don't own my own engine myself, and I know how hard it is when you go to these things and you know, you're just driving other people's, but for once this whole setup here, they've got one engine that's owned collectively, so it's everyone's responsibility and everyone's great project.
How did it drive?
It was really, surprisingly, very, very good. I mean, it's a brand new engine and it's really sweet. And I managed it all the way around the track, no casualties, no derailments. So
it's a lovely line actually, isn't it?
It's very, very pretty. It's got a nice bit of diversification, a few gradients, it's a good place.
Have you personally got any plans for the future? Are we going to see you on the TV soon or anything like that?
Well, I'm doing a couple of projects at the moment. I've got a water mill that I'm restoring for myself as a home and a submarine as well. Not to live in.
Oh, well, that sounds interesting. I'll let you get back to the champagne. Thank you very much, Claire.
Thank you.
Mr. Bob Symes, very nice to see you here.
Lovely to see you.
Do you know this railway well?
No, I don't. I have been here once when it was, I think once, that's it. But I've never really seen it like this.
Have you had a chance to look around today?
Oh yes, very much so.
And what are your thoughts?
I think it's remarkable. You know, it's what I like about it is, of course, my own theory that you shouldn't see a railway in its full glory. You want to see parts of it. And here you've got exactly the same. You've got an engine shed area, which is right. You've got your station, which is a completely different place. And you've got a circuit which is going somewhere and coming back from somewhere, which is just right.
I have to say, Giles, this is it's a wonderful little railway you've got here. Was this how you found it when you moved into the garden centre, 4 years ago?
I have to say it wasn't quite, no.
Right. What was here?
Well, this railway started life, 25 years ago, something like that.
Right.
As a 7¼ inch
Yeah.
railway. So therefore it was much smaller in gauge and much lighter. It had been built and run as a commercial enterprise. And of course, with the best will in the world, a railway like this won't carry enough passengers to
make-
be able to,
To make money, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And so, unfortunately, it got really quite run down.
Yeah.
And everything was really rather overgrown.
When you're saying we had to, who are we?
Well, there have been a number of us who have worked together on other railways and have been combined by our interest in 10¼ and we all got together and formed the South Downs Light Railway.
The layout of the railway, has that changed while you've been here? Have you altered the actual circuit? Or was that basically in place?
Yeah, it was basically in place. We've relayed a few things, like for instance, the old level crossing was just here, but
Right.
there was a very tight curve coming through those trees, and the level here.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, it's the same circuit. However, of course, now we're in the process of creating a much longer extension, having moved 10,000 tons of earth up there,
Yeah.
further ahead of us.
We've had a look at the cutting.
Right.
What's the sort of time span on that? What are you aiming for?
Well, we started it, I suppose, 6-9 months ago, and we hope to be running on it in another 6 or 9 months.
What about volunteers? Are you looking for volunteers still, or are you
Well,
fully there on staffing
No,
levels?
we always look for volunteers. Now, one of the nice things about this setup is that anyone, if they're prepared to come and spend the time and put the effort in, anyone can come and learn how to manage and drive locos like this. There are plenty of people who will basically teach them all about these things, how they work, how to drive them, how to manage them throughout the day. Because of course, engines like these pull the first train at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and they finish when the last of the guests go home. So it's a proper job of work they're doing.
And what you've also got here is a nice mix between miniature and narrow gauge as well.
Well,
Especially you've got your new Pulborough, that's narrow gauge
Yes.
profile, isn't it? And then several miniature locomotives.
That's
'Cause
right.
I personally, I quite like that mix. I think it's nicer as a mix, to be honest.
well, there's something for everyone. My personal taste is narrow gauge because they are engines built to be practical and built to do the job of work. Other people do love the scale, the standard gauge stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
And we also, of course, have a couple of diesel engines as well, which, strangely, many of the kids actually love. The diesels.
Really?
Yes. So the idea, yes, is that there's something for everybody, and it certainly works for me.
I just have to say, actually, I don't enjoy any of this. This is all work, you know. There's no fun involved.
I just feel so sorry for you.
last edition of the Railway Monthly, we saw Jennifer Johnston firing a B12 on the North Norfolk Railway. It's a classic piece of Railway Monthly television. Now, what we had to do really was just shove Jennifer on the footplate with Mark the cameraman and let them get on with it. What we didn't know until we got back to the edit suite and saw the footage was that Ian, the driver, an irritatingly young 31-year-old, had asked Jennifer if she fancied having a go. And she did. And into the driver's seat she got. And luckily for us, Mark recorded it all. If you've ever wondered why people go gaga over steam, this is the reason. This is it. It's a compelling shot.
Now this wasn't actually part of the plan today. I'm very lucky. Ian's going to let me drive for a bit, so you're going to have to talk me through it. I don't know where to start.
It's not as daunting as it all looks. You've got your forward and reversing lever here, so that makes you go forwards and backwards, simplifying. You've got your brake here. That's your brake handle there.
Brake handle.
Yeah. So what we do once we've created, watch these are extremely hot. These aren't, but if you keep your cloth in hand. Yeah. Is the handbrake on, George? No. Can you just nip it up for us, please, and I'll get... Okay. Right, so first of all, if you open that, which is your small ejector there...
And that's...
That way, that's right, yeah, it's quite... That's it. Now put the handle upright. You'll feel it stop, that's it, there. Now what you're doing is you're creating your vacuum, which is your brake. Now that needs to go up to around 21 and a half inches.
Right. So just hold it up until...
That should hold it. If you let go of that, will sit there like that, you see, and that'll slowly go up like that, and that'll go up to around the 21 and a half mark.
Right.
Now that's your brake. Now when you want to come to stop, what you do is you just draw that towards you like that, see it drop, and what that's doing is because the brakes are done by a vacuum, so what it actually does is that lets partial air into the system, which obviously destroys the vacuum. So the more you pull it down, the heavier the brakes will come on. So that's the brake. So if you now put that into forward gear, that's a lock there. If you pull that towards you, that's it, and then turn the wheel, you probably have to hold that the same, that's it. And if you wind that, that's right, wind that like that, into forward gear, like that. That's into forward. You can see how the arrow's gone into full forward gear. And then if you push that forward, you can find it'll just lock itself. That's it. See, that's now locked. Right, and when we're ready to go, that's your whistle there. And then you open the brake. Have you got the green? Just wait for the green. Right, give us the blast on the whistle. Down, yeah. Now with your cloth, pull that right into it. Wait. Now back. What you've got is now gently open it again. Not too wide, a little bit more. That'll do. That's it. Now what you've got, that's showing you how much steam is going into your steam set. So a little bit more. That's it. Now ease it back. Good. That's it. Lovely.
Wow, we're moving!
Right, ease it back just a little bit. That's it, just there, lovely.
I feel like I should be looking where I'm going.
Well, that's all right, I'll keep an eye out for you. So you've got...
Okay, so...
It's 10 mile an hour over this crossover, so you've got a nice steady out of there. And that's telling you how much steam's in your steam chest at the front end. That gauge there.
Where's the speedo?
There isn't a speedo.
There's no speedo?
No speedo.
I didn't know.
It's all by judgment. All by judgment.
So are we doing 10 miles an hour?
We're doing about 10 miles an hour.
That's clever.
If you open that just a little bit more, not much, just a little bit, that's it. That'll do. That's it. Right, that's lovely. Now what you need to do, as you can hear, the beat's picking up now, so what you want to do is if you pull the lock towards you and you want to wind that backwards a little bit, and wind that back towards you. That's it. Wind it, grind it back. That's it. If I hold that, you keep winding it. That's it. Keep going.
Why am I doing this, Ian?
Right, keep winding.
Why am I doing this?
What's happening is, right, a bit more, that's it, right. Now, if you open that, and I'll explain to you what you were doing there. If you open that a bit more until you feel it stop. That's it, that's lovely. What you're actually doing there is, if you imagine like gears on a car, when it's in full forward, the steam's only going to do so much. You've got your foot to the floor and it's not getting any quicker. So what you're doing, by winding her further back, you're reducing the cut-off to the front end, which means the engine's working more expansively. The steam's being used more efficiently in the cylinder before it's thrown out of the top. So
George, are you being my eyes for the left answer?
So you're going along now. As you know, the maximum speed along here is about 25. So you
And we're doing 25?
now all you're doing is she's now just climbing up the bank, lovely.
So this is a bit of a steep incline, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 1 in 80 gradient all the way to the top of the cutting, so yes, it is a steep climb. I mean, we've only got 4 coaches on, so that isn't that much weight. But, you know, put another couple and you'd be working her a bit harder.
So I feel I should be doing something.
No, not at all, that's fine, you've done wonderful. She's running along lovely. What you can do now, if you just pull that back again and just wind it back a little bit more, so you can hit the other way, that's it, towards you, yeah. A bit more. Keep going, keep going. About there, that's lovely. Then just twiggle it about until you feel it lock. That's it. You can hear she was picking up, now she's just sitting there lovely, and what that's telling you is you've got 130 pounds in the steam chest, and we're trotting along nicely up the bank.
Fantastic.
And,
This is so good. Thanks for letting me do this. I can't believe I'm driving a steam train.
and then what will happen is in any minute now you'll see a whistle board on the right hand side, because we've got a crossing going across the line. When you see that, you just give a couple of toots on the whistle.
Do you know what? Lex is going to be so jealous. That's my dad, by the way. He'd love to do this.
You see it on the right, look, on the post.
Oh yeah. So as I get to it, I blow the whistle.
Yeah, any time now will do, yeah.
Once or twice.
A couple of times. That's it. And you can see there's no one on the crossing, so, and as you can see, we're just coming to the top. So when we come to the top, once we go over the top, we're then dropping downhill. So what we do is, we make sure the blower's open, which it is. Then just as we go over the top, I'll get you to shut the regulator, and then you can wind it into full forward gear, right down to the front, because it coasts then, it'll just coast down the bank then. Right, so if you now shut the regulator, push it away from you, that's it, right shut, keep that, that's it. And then pull your lock towards you, and then wind it, that's it, right down to the front. That's it, lovely.
And then lock it again.
Yeah, and then just tweak it around until you move it back towards you a little bit, and you'll find it suddenly, that's it. And then, just as we hit the curve coming up, we start climbing round that curve again. So what we'll do is, before you open the regulator this time, because we're keeping a nice constant speed, you can wind her back to where she was before you shut her off, then open your regulator. So if you wind her back now, that's it, keep her going, that's it, keep going, a bit more, to about there, that's it, lovely. That's it, and then slowly open her up until you feel that stop again. That's it, go on, keep going, that's it. That's it.
It's going a bit mad.
That's it, now
Is
you've
that
got.
right?
And now what she'll do is, so you kept what you did, you opened the regulator there just before she was the climb, so you keep the momentum going that you had down the, so you don't actually start to slow before she has time to get herself going again.
We're going pretty fast at the moment.
25 miles an hour.
Oh, okay. I was going to say precisely what
a lot faster on these. They can be very deceptive.
Yeah,
Very
it does. It feels like at the moment they were really trundling along actually.
Now, shortly we'll be coming up to the interesting bit, making a stop. You've got to start it, now you're going to have to stop it.
Okay. I feel like I should be putting my foot on the brake. Okay. So.
There's the station coming up. So if you just give a whistle, that just lets the station know we're coming. Now push that away from me again, shut that again. That's it. Now if you wind that into full forward gear again. That's it. Yep. If I can just get the token to give to George.
Can I do that bit?
Right. You get your cloth and put it around there and slowly pull that towards you. Drag it down, that's it. Now back up, now back up. Now push it right up, that's it, keep it up there. You feel how quick those brakes came on? So that's it, now you can just release it again and just let it go into its natural position, which is, that's it, just there, look. That's it. Now you've got her under control now, you've slowed her up. Now, if you bring her towards you a little bit, very slowly, and now just hold her about there. Now away from you. That's it. Now push it right up. That's it. You've got a nice steady speed now. You see to trundle into the station. Now you can let her go back to a natural upright position again. That's it. Keep your hand on it, and what we've got coming up, you see there's a white post in between the two running lines there. Well, the back of the tender here and the coach need to be level with that. So what I'll do is we'll just let her roll like that. You've got a nice steady speed. She should roll in there nicely. Should roll in there nicely. Now bring her back towards you again. Now off again. That is beautiful. Spot on. There you go. Better than me.
That was an amazing experience. I just loved that. Thank you so much.
That's a pleasure.
I did a little bit. I'd say it would easily have run away from me though if I didn't obviously have you to guide me, but that was amazing.
You did very well indeed.
You're a good teacher.
We try.
Great.
On the next edition of the Railway Monthly, we travel on the ever so quirky but utterly charming Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway. The Kent and East Sussex Railway runs between Tenterton and Bodiam. Their 2004 diesel gala was held in July and featured sunshine and rain. Lots of rain. There were, however, some rather well turned out diesels, and rather than spoil the sound with a narration, we thought you'd prefer to read about them. So, whenever you'd like to know more, just press the subtitle button on your remote control. Enjoy.
It's all very well Jennifer learning how to drive a steam train, but her train will go nowhere without the say-so of a signalman. And that's why I'm here at the Old Down Miniature Railway to get some expert tuition in the art of signalling. I'm looking for Joe.
Oh, hello, John. How you doing, mate? We're expecting you. Come on up. Watch out for the trains.
Okay, mate. Nice to meet you, mate. So we've got the Seven Beach signal box.
Well, yeah, Seven Beach. The nameplate's actually from Seven Beach Signals, but the signal box itself came from the Central Wales line, a place called Keelrochan Crossing.
Tell me about the line.
Yeah, the railway is a 7 1/4 gauge railway. I built the railway 3 years ago, and many years ago I started off building little steam engines, working my way up, building bigger and bigger stuff. And actually, one of the locos, James, that's the most recent loco I built. It's half a ton, and it pulls about 40 people.
What's all this then?
Well, this is what's known as the lever frame, integral part of the signal box. This lever frame dates back from the 1890s. The box itself was built in 1910 as a very much earlier frame.
Okay.
It's known in technical terms as the GWR Class 6 Special, meaning it's a stud frame that's been converted to 3-bar direct tappet interlocking. Now the interlocking is contained underneath the floorboard in trays, and interlocking is basically to stop the signalman setting up conflicting moves. It prevents him doing so by the levers being interlocked with each other.
And these levers control the signals on the
The
line.
levers control the signals on the line.
So if I move that, signal moves.
That's right, yeah.
Fantastic. Right. They're all different colours though. Well, we've got 3 different colours going on here.
Right, well the colours, any signal box you go into, anywhere in the country, all the colours are the same. Red identifies the signalman that is a stop signal. Any stop signal, whether it be a ground disc or a signal like outside there, the bracket signal, the stop signals, they're always painted red. Any levers operating bolts, facing point locked, where you need to bolt them, that's painted blue.
Okay.
Any levers operating points are painted black.
Okay, and we've got the brown ones here. What's the...
That's the gate bolt lever. That's for locking down our barriers.
on the crossing? Bell. What's that? Tea time?
No, not T-type. No, that's a signalman in the next box, the end of the section, calling our attention. Now he's waiting for a response from us. He's called our attention with 1 beat on the bell.
So what are you going to say?
Well, you need to respond to that with 1 beat on the bell.
So I hit that once.
Yeah. Right, that's rung his bell. He's going to send you a train description. He wants to ask our permission for a train.
Okay.
We use bell signals on the railway. Different bell signals mean different things. Right, he sent you 3-1, which is our stopping passenger train. He's asked you, is line clear for the stopping passenger?
So he
Now
said
we're-
three
He
beats,
sent
then
3
one.
beats,
And then
pulls
one. Yeah.
We are in a position to accept the train, so you acknowledge the 3 beats by repetition.
Oh,
Yeah.
so 3
Send
beats
in
and then
3, 1. Right, now he's going to wait for you to give him a line clear. Now this is our block instrument. This shows the position of the line,
Right.
the state of the line, whether it's train on line or whether the line's clear. At the moment, the line's normal, as we say.
Okay, yeah.
So you need to press this key down and peg it across.
Peg it across.
Push it down. At the same time, put the paper. No, see. Now
Line
you
clear.
flagged line clear up. Now.
Now he knows, he's
Yeah.
seeing this as well at the other
That's
end.
right. You've now operated the instrument in his box. This is an indicator to you,
Right.
so we now know the state of the line.
Right,
You've now
okay.
given a line
He knows
clear.
that.
He's got a train at his station ready to depart. Now, when the train goes past his box and onto the single line, the driver will be in receipt of the token, the single line key token,
Okay.
which is his authority.
I've seen those.
That's right. That's his
yeah,
authority to be on the single line. Takes a minute or so for the train to get past the box, but when it goes past the box, as I said, he will send you train entry.
And this would be a local stop. Oh,
Right, now the train has now gone onto the single line. It's on its way to us now. So you now need to send him 2 beats back on the bell. That's acknowledging.
So
and now
now-
you need to peg line. You need to peg train on line.
Ah, so I'm going to
Yeah, that's
do
it. Push
that.
that- yeah, you see?
Slide that
That's
across. Right, where's this train then?
Right, he's on his way to us.
Yeah.
It's going to be about another couple of minutes. So we need to prepare things
Start
at this
pulling
end.
some
Yeah,
levers.
yeah, that's right. Need to start putting some levers. Now the first thing we need to do, as we've got a road crossing, we need to shut our barriers. We can now put our gate bolt lever over. Now we don't put our sweaty hands all over the nicely polished levers.
Oh.
Go in any signal box. You'll be,
Well, have you got some gloves or
yeah,
something?
gloves. Now we use the proper signalman's badge of office is duster.
Oh, I thought that was your tea
The
towel.
no, it's not a tea.
Oh, I see, British Rail. Oh,
Yeah,
very
well, the
nice.
early ones would have had Great Western Railway sewn into them.
Okay,
No,
bit of a
it's-
hole there. You need to get your.
it's pulled many thousands of
yeah.
levers. An original piece of signalling kit. That basically protects the nice polished surface of the lever for your sweaty hands. Now there's a cash handle here which you need to pull,
so that's like
which
a handbrake.
releases the latch block in the bottom of the frame. That's it. You've
It's a
now
nice fluid lever.
closed the gates.
So I'll give you that. Or do I need
No,
that?
you're going to need that because now
Okay.
we need to lower our home signal, which is
Home
number
signal.
9 in this case.
Number
You
9.
can now pull number 9, pull the catch in.
And then that'll make this signal.
That's right. That'll drop that signal down there.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's it. You've observed the signals come off.
So the train knows he's.
Yeah,
come through
basically, another minute or so, the train will be with us, and he's got the clear way into the station.
So talk me through some more of these things we've got up here. Looks like a.
Like a little Aladdin's cave,
Does
isn't
look
it?
like a little Aladdin's
Yeah.
cave. We've got buttons.
Basically, these are all pieces of equipment which a signalman uses to control his layout.
Yeah, yeah.
These here are plungers. Basically, it's just a switch.
Yeah.
It lifts an electric lock on the bottom of the frame. These other instruments are basically to show the state of the line, i.e. track circuits, whether the track's occupied or whether the track's clear.
I want to know what this is. This looks like a dumbbell. You've been to weightlifting.
Well, it's actually known as a reminder appliance.
A reminder
A
appliance.
reminder appliance is designed to fit over any signal lever into such a position that it prevents you from pulling the lever. But it also serves as another purpose for serving up the signalman's morning breakfast, our boiled egg. It's a
an egg cup.
very ergonomic egg cup, and most signalmen at some time or other would have had their breakfast egg. I have mine in it every day.
Nice picture up there. Little map of the line.
Well,
Probably not
diagram.
this line.
The
Oh,
word-
diagram,
The
sorry.
words we'd like to use is diagram.
Okay.
Each signal box would have a diagram showing the points and signals
Yeah.
for that part of line.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it shows the various signals. You can see them coloured in there.
Yeah.
Distant signals at the back there.
Yes, I can see that.
Tells you any information about piece of equipment, how it's released. You know, all that sort of information. Because the ideal is if another signalman comes in to work the signal box who's not regular to it, he should ought to be able to, by looking at the diagram, knowing its rules and regulations, looking at the levers and the description badges on there, he should ought to be able to signal trains basically.
So Joe, I understand all this, but tokens. I'm not quite clear on the token scenario. What's the story with those?
Well, just go into a bit of detail on the token system. Now this is an original Great Western Railway 1914 design. Basically, it's quite a simple system. The purpose of this is to prevent more than one train being on the single line. The driver must be in possession of one of these key tokens. You can only get one token out of the instrument at any one time. Doesn't matter whether you take one out of here or whether you take one out of the next box. But the only way to get another one out is either to replace it in this instrument or give it to the driver and he takes it through the section to the next box.
Right, Joe. I know about the levers. I know about the track. I know about the signals. We've done the tokens. Give me something to do.
Excellent.
Let's run this railway.
First of all, we've got a train waiting to depart.
Yeah.
Get the old line clear. Now remember it's a 3-1 again, look, same as
Okay.
before.
So I'm going to go 1,
That's
2, 3, 1.
Right, yeah. Barriers now.
Okay, so give me detail around that. So he's ready to come out the station. I
Yeah.
need to give him a signal.
We
I need him.
It's number. We need a signal, but there's something else we need
Signal
before that.
1.
Quick, what is it?
Switching.
Number 4.
Full. That's right. It says it on there. And then it's number 1.
That's it, number 1.
There we go. And he's coming through.
No, the train will be on his way now.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, he's got you now. He's.
Do I need to signal him at all down the other end
No,
yet?
remember, as he
'cause
goes
he's not in
by-
our section.
Token.
Yeah.
Don't panic. Don't panic, Captain Mandarin.
Right, that train's all present and correct.
Well, Mike, we've got this other one to go. 2 beats
So-
on the belt.
That's online. Okay.
Right, put your signal out of danger. Right, we got this one out of sight. Number 3. Come on, quick, he's waiting. Right, number 2.
Number 2. He's impatient, isn't he?
Right, when he's gone over the points, you took it up.
It took me, but I'll put him back in. Okay.
Right, that's it.
So
Okay.
clear. So I'll
Yeah,
give
put your signal. That's it. You
signal
got
to
it. Signal back.
danger
Yeah. Reset the point.
and reset the switch.
Yeah. Right, now you can pull your. That's it. Yeah, you got it.
Got it. Yeah.
Right, now at the moment, it's all looking good.
Train's
right?
on the line.
Yeah, we're okay for the minute now.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, so this could be him.
Yeah.
1, 2.
He's giving you train that section.
Okay, so give him that.
Yeah, right, you drop the block now.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So what's going to happen now?
I need to give him a signal.
No, you're in charge of this bit of line. He's going to ask your permission to go on a signal.
Oh, right,
now.
so yeah, of
we've
course
had our
he's
train
gonna
out of section.
Yeah,
haven't we?
yeah.
Yeah, so what he's going to do? He's going to ask you line clear. Yeah. Oh, there you are. Right.
There he is, Malcolm. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Now you've got to peg line clear to him now. Right. There, he's put him on line to you now.
So I don't need to go.
Yeah. You give.
Okay.
And then peg.
Sending that
peg,
back.
Train on line.
Train online.
Right. Now what you do?
Right.
You can put your.
Put the barriers down.
Right. Now what
And
platform are you going to send him in?
We're going to send him into the main platform.
That's it. You got it.
Which is number 9.
Which is number 9.
Yeah. Okay. So that's in there.
Yeah.
And
No, that's
all we
fine
need
now.
to do.
That's fine now. All we have to do now is just literally wait for the train to come back.
okay. Here it comes. Thank you. Well, that's all there.
Right. Okay. Put your signal out of danger.
It's out of danger.
Right, call attention. That's what you're going to do to him now.
I'm going to give him line clear.
No, you're going to give him train out of section.
Train out of section.
And then when he does all that, then you're going to restore
2,
the
1.
Yeah. So hang on.
Oh, he hasn't come back at me, has he?
We're dropping points now. Right, there we are. He was obviously busy, you see, look.
1, 2, 1. I'll give him line.
That's it.
Give him line clear.
Now you can give him.
Is that right?
No.
No.
You're just dropping the block now.
Oh, I'm dropping it, so it's.
See when you. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, I'm just going to nip over to the station to get some tea bag. I won't be a second.
What? Leave me on
Yeah,
my own?
no, I think you're all right now. I think it's time you are.
Okay. See you in a bit, Joe. Ah, train. See if I've got a clear line from. Ah, here's there. Was it 1, 3, 1? Alright, I've got to send that. Track 2, train 3, 2. Is that the right one? Yeah, it must be. Yeah. Okay. That's got to be right. Well, that's easy. Now I've got to do something. 1, 2. That's right. Train on the line. That's it. And I've got to redo the signals. Got the tea towel. Whoa. Hope he comes back with that tea. Right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, barriers. Right. That's it. That's it. God, Joe. Joe, I've pulled a few levers. How do you think I've done today?
I think you've done brilliant. Great pleasure working with you. You've done really well. You were responsive, observant. You got to grips with the box really quickly. You know, I mean, we've had a few other people in there training, but I think you've done all right, mate.
Oh,
no problem at all. There'll always be a place up here for you as a future signalman. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
That's great. I look forward to my next
Yeah, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Signalman.
The Railway Monthly is the world's first DVD TV channel, bringing you such classic moments as this, and this, and this.
Absolutely delicious.
And you know what? We do it for the remarkably low price of only £4.99 when you subscribe. But do us a favour, will you? Subscribe online. It's safe and secure for you and helps us keep that price way, way down.
The museum is called the George Stephenson Museum, but we are trying to extend it to cover all aspects of railways in the past.
The museum is important because it stands on what was the major trunk route of all of the coal railways from Northumberland to the River Tyne.
In the turn of the century, we were pioneering electric trains. We had the North Tyneside electric loop, and also south of the river at Harton, they were the first to have an electric railway for taking the coal down to the States.
It then became a test centre for the Tyne and Wear Metro, and as soon as they had their units up and running, the museum was founded as a store, and initially it was just to house the railway exhibits. Around about 1989, the museum opened to the general public just to look round to see what we've got here, and fully opened in 1991 with steam trains running to Percy Main. This museum is an attraction for railway enthusiasts because of the collection. It's interesting, it covers a large period of time, and we've got a varied range of operating exhibits.
The pride of the static exhibits is Billy. Now that was, I like to think, the test bed for Rocket. Everything apart from the cladding is original.
It was built circa 1826 by George Stephenson himself, or it could have been a job he could have given the lads to do. The reason I say that is that there are many of them around, and curiously some are left-hand drive, some are right-hand drive. They were used on the colliery lines. They didn't interestingly run down to the river because they were very low horsepower. They ran around the colliery yards and got wagons to the ropeways, which then lowered them down on an inclined plane to the river. George Stephenson, at the time that was built, would have been busy with things like the locomotion, and then Robert came along and he would have looked at designs like the Rocket. We have a North Eastern Railway electric parcels van, which is now 100 years old. The parcels van speeded up the journey between the coast and Newcastle on Tyne.
It was used to take the fish from North Shields to Newcastle to then go on to the trains to London. The parcels end has solid glass doors, but the fish end has got louvered doors because it was absolutely used to reek. It was later converted to actually become a de-icing van to take the ice off the third rails. The Harton locomotive came to Harton in 1909, having been manufactured in Germany, at Stuttgart. The pit owners at the time were rather concerned with the imminence of the war in 1914, that there might be a reaction from the miners and the staff to drive in German engines. So they put false plates on it, showing it being built at Stafford in England.
It was a colliery engine. It was used in South Tyneside, and the reason they chose electric was because it ran through the streets of the town. It's important to this museum because the railways in the northeast were in the forefront of the development of electric traction, and there was an experiment with an electric locomotive on the Northeastern Railway for the main line to York. Unfortunately, it didn't come to anything. It was interrupted by the First World War, for one thing, but there was a very successful electric mineral railway running from Shildon to Newport.
When Siemens factory opened over the way there, we got them involved, and they give us 10,000 to do a cosmetic restoration. But by using that as matched funding and the National Lottery coming in, we've been able to restore it. This engine here, the Concert engine, which is unique. What happened in 1958, Concert Iron Company wanted a diesel powerful enough to push the hot metal wagons onto gantries. They couldn't source one, so what they did was they bought a Merley's 300 horsepower engine, and using their own steel actually built this engine.
It proved a very powerful machine. It's a mechanical drive to a reduction gearbox, and it's extremely powerful, and it's very difficult to drive.
Now, we're very fortunate because the chap who was locomotive superintendent at the time, who is now over 90, was able to come and explain, you know, what was what. So basically, apart from taking the asbestos off, which you have to do, with a minimum of work, it became a runner, and it's a lovely piece of equipment. The workhorse of the fleet, it's the 1958 Gardner 203 horsepower diesel, which spent its working life at Newcastle Central Station doing the duties they used to do there with sleepers and milk trains and things like that. The pride of the fleet is the 1883 Kitson, manufactured by Kitson of Leeds.
It was at Concert Iron Company, and it was sold to the Monkton Coke Works, where it finished its working days. We then bought it from Beamish Museum and restored it to working order. It is unique in its design. This is when the Stephensons were looking at how they could make a locomotive more powerful, and they put the firebox behind the rear axle. And the wheel arrangement, which is 060, has two wheels very close together, and the leading wheel at the front of the locomotive, which is a chimney end, was further away. The long boiler allows freer steaming, and it's more powerful than anything that went before it. The museum's not just here for people to come and look at locomotives and carriages. It's a centre for conservation work. What we're trying to do is to get things working so that people can actually see them in action on the railway.
The work here at the museum involves total restoration to running repairs. We have a small body of men who we call the Black Gang, who are the ones that do the maintenance and the day-to-day needs. We have to bring in specialists for certain jobs because you have to use accredited firms now. And the volunteers not only look after the locomotives and maintain them, they operate the railway on a Sunday.
Working on the steam engines is demanding because we have to work within the pressure vessels regulations 2000. The other work we do here, we do carriage building. work on the electric locomotives and diesels.
We're very fortunate with the volunteers who are all members of the North Tyneside Steam Railway Association. It's very difficult obtaining experienced volunteers now, and we're always on the lookout for volunteers for the workshop and also for driving the trains or being on the trains, and also for front of house activities when we have busy days. Recently we've had a grant from various bodies to improve our education facilities, and last year we had just under 1,000 school children on visits, and this year we're doing a lot more, and I borrow an education officer from Segadoonan. I like the museum because we try and have a laid-back attitude, and it covers everything now from 1823 basically to the present time, and we try to, you know, make people aware that it's not just steam railways that we're proud of here, it's the electrics and the diesels as well.
The biggest selling point of a railway in North Wales, and certainly this one, is the scenery. We've got gradients, we've got bends. You will not see scenery anything like this almost anywhere in the country. Unlike a lot of preserve railways where you hear the train just drifting along and a little bit of steam, here you can really hear the locos work. Originally this was part of a through route which went from Ruaben right the way through to Barmouth on the coast. It was a Great Western cross-country route and it was used mainly for local trains, but at the weekends there was a lot of through traffic to places like Pwllheli and Barmouth, taking holidaymakers mainly from Merseyside out to the coast. As part of the beaching review, it was decided there would only be one line into Wales to the coast, and it was a toss-up between this line and the more southerly line as to which one was going to survive. This line was eventually closed in 1964. The whole site was derelict and there was no track, no infrastructure, no trains, no sheds, and since then it's all been built up bit by bit. As with all preservation societies, they start off small, stay small for a number of years and then grow quite rapidly. This opened with 120 feet of track. It gradually was extended. It reached the present terminus, which is Carrog, which is 7.5 miles, about 10 years ago. The immediate plan is to return to Corwin to build a new terminus facility, which will be the end of the line. We do not plan to go any further west than that.
Well, I worked in Eastmoor Steelworks in Cardiff as an apprentice fitter and turner. Went there in 1958 and I was there till 63, and I had 18 months of my apprenticeship in the local shops. And there were 17 Hunslet steam locos there then, Jessie being one of them. It's now a unique engine because it's what all the austerity Hunslets were designed from. It survived until 1965, and when it was withdrawn with the diesels coming in, the steelworks presented it to the city of Cardiff. They put it on display in Splot Park, the children's playground near the works. It was there for 15 years, deteriorating, covered in graffiti, and eventually the council put it up for sale. It was restorable, but it took me a long time. Everything had been welded up, the boiler, the smoke box door, the firebox doors, the ash pan. I couldn't get in to examine the boiler. All the motion was welded, so I just took a chance, put a bid in for it, and when I got it I went to the park for weeks with a burning gear just cutting away the weld. We went to the Dean Forest Railway in 1980. We stripped it, did just little jobs on it here and there over a long period. In 1995 I moved up to Llangollen and brought the kit of parts and scrap with me, and gradually got on restoring it. We stripped it down, took the boiler out. I took the cylinder block out, and bearing in mind it's an inside cylinder engine, that was no mean task. Split the block in two halves and put new valve port inserts in. The cylinders were rebored. The window frames came off a Western engine, and the mechanical lubricators are from Poland. So it's got an international engine really. A lot of other bits and pieces. A lot of the fittings in the cab came from various collieries when they finished with steam. I've always liked the sound of a chime whistle, so I wrote to the South African Railways, who were withdrawing a lot of steam engines. They said they hadn't got a whistle available, but they'd record my name, and if one came up, they'd let me know. And actually, they did 5 years later, so I got the whistle. Oh, it means a lot to me. It's basically my life now. I live alongside the line. I'm fortunate to be employed on the job that I love doing. And I've got basically my own garden railway, 8-mile garden railway with my own engine running on it. And it's my hobby as well as my job, so I'm very fortunate.
membership started off reasonably small, maybe 25 working volunteers, and it's grown to about 250, which is the number we've got today, plus about 25 full-time staff, of course. This railway is very heavily committed into preserving the skills of the past for future generations. Most of this gear is already 100 years old, and if it's going to get to be another 100, we've got to train people to operate it and maintain it. Unless we pass these skills on, when the rest of us are gone in 20 or 30 years' time, there will be no one to show this stuff to the future generations. We have actually started proper apprentice schemes in our works, and we've got the first two who are passing out this year, if you like. They're finishing their time and they'll be re-employed by the railway as engineers. We're teaching them traditional skills such as machining, welding, fabrication, painting, coachwork, all that type of thing. We're hoping that they will carry the steam preservation movement forwards into the next century when the rest of us that learnt it the old way have all gone.
Well, they start off from school. They do 12 months in college, in the local college in Wrexham. It's an NVQ-based course. They then do 3 years on-the-job training with us on a day-release basis. And obviously at the end of it, they're qualified in whatever skill they've decided to go for. The two that are coming out of that apprenticeship this year have been offered jobs with the company, one as a machinist and one as a welder fabricator. The future of the workshop obviously is with the younger staff. We take the apprentices on, they're prepared to stay on. Depending on the order book, if the work carries on, then we will employ more people. We've taken people from the Llangollen area and employed them in here. So it's, the local authority are quite happy with the way we're progressing.
I've actually been a member for 18 months. My husband discovered I'd got this passion for photographing signal boxes and signals. He's into the diesel, so he joined the diesel group, and I joined the signalling team. This particular railway, it's the beautiful setting, and it's great to see the fact that history's being preserved. And so much changing in the world, it's nice to see that the history is being stored for some people for the future.
My name is John Judson. The name of my railway I called Wayne's Home. This was what used to be a kitchen garden. With the space, I decided I would build a railway, and I'd build it big enough to accommodate trains of all descriptions and have a lot of fun. I based this railway on the LNER, because living in Essex is part of the LNER as it was. It's Gauge 1 for a start, and I'm a member of the Gauge 1 Model Railway Association. There's something jolly interested in live steam and being more hands-on than perhaps being an O gauge model in electric. This is predominantly built of steel truss into the ground about 2'6" in concrete, onto which are then 4x2 tannalised timbers, and then 20mm marine ply on top of that. And then the most important point being the asphalt on top. It's waterproof and it stood up to all the elements to the present day. There's a particular footbridge that's rather interesting, and it's based on the Great Northern Railway footbridge. A great chap in this business is a fellow called Dan Pinnock of D&S Models, and he does a lot in the O gauge and 4mm. In fact, it is Dan that has done so much in all of the scales, particularly in OO gauge and in O gauge. And we're introducing Dan into Gauge 1 because he's got a lot of expertise and a lot of kits, which I think brass kits could be brought from the 4 or 7mm up to Gauge 1 standard. I feel that's very important because the association over a long period of time has not had the benefit of fine-scale modelling in the general run of things. It's only really in the last few years that people have started to realise that engines look better with brake gear and things like that. This is a hands-on hobby. One needs to, if necessary, grab one's engine when something is not quite right or it's going too fast, and therefore there's a feeling that the more you grab, the more something's likely to fall off. My view is that the association has moved leaps and bounds in bringing a fine scale into all aspects of it, whether it be signal boxes, whether it be footbridges, signals, rather than just locomotives or rolling stock. The trains we're running today are a Pullman set, Queen of Scots possibly, or one of the Harrogate Pullmans. That's going to be pulled by a P2, which is Cock of the North. Also, we've got a set of Thompsons, which I built. These are in BR maroon, and they will be hauled by Hull of the Wind, which is in fact an A1 Peppercorn Pacific.